Wackmatters is brought to you by Audible.com. If you go to audibletrial.com/wackmatters, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial where you can test out Audible's awesome audiobook monthly subscription service. Make sure to go to audibletrial.com/wackmatters. Hey, welcome to the Wackmatters series where we talk about Channel Zero, Season 2, called NoEnd House. I am here with a panelist of 4 people. You want to introduce yourselves from my left to right, so you go first.
I am Matt Capello.
Mark.
Matt.
We watched episode 1 just now, and if you want to check out the commentary track that we recorded, I will have that posted. This is for people that don't feel like watching the show, and I don't necessarily blame you, though I think that it might help. If you watch the show, you'll get some laughs out of it. Whether it's from our jokes or not, that's up to you. The show is something. I watched this last year. This is your guys' first viewing. I do want to explain the concept of the show to you. So it's called Channel Zero. It's an anthology show where each of the seasons is a different story. What they're supposed to be doing is taking creepypastas. Are you familiar with the term?
Creepypasta?
Yeah.
The creepiest pasta I know is macaroni.
Pasta is scarier than this show.
It's an incredibly stupid internet term, which is a...
That's really redundant.
It's a morphing of the term copypasta, which is just when people in the early days of forums would just post creepy stories, copy-paste them to another forum. So all of these seasons are originally based on a creepypasta that's been around for a long time.
So like the Thin Man, would he be a creepypasta?
Like Slender Man?
Sorry, Slender Man.
Correct. Slender Man is a creepypasta.
Yeah, created by Red Letter Media.
Really?
So,
I'm pretty sure they did it inadvertently.
Huh.
all I know is that there's a lot of these that exist. Some of them are decent, and because they can be written by anyone, a lot of them suck. This one is actually a lot creepier, I thought, when I was reading the creepypasta. Another thing that I've noticed about all the seasons of the show is most of the time the creepypasta, as it was written, is thrown away by the end of the first episode. Either they've used everything in the source material, or warped it all so much that it's screwed beyond repair. So if you want to go read the source material, you're not going to get spoiled on the rest of the show because...
It doesn't follow it.
Well, no, because the rooms are all different, including ones that are way creepier than the ones that we see.
They built the house differently.
And also it ends when they find out that they're not out of the house, just like this episode. That's the end of the creepypasta.
Oh, okay. So it's more that sounds more like something that'd be like Twilight Zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you go into this house, you think it has an ending, and you come out, you think you're out, and like, yeah, you're in a Twilight Zone.
And it's creepier. Oh, I don't want to spoil too much, but we'll say it might be creepier than what comes the rest of the season.
Yeah, I really feel like they could have made a decent 1-hour show out of this idea, but they chose not to.
They also chose to so as someone who has read the creepypasta, they chose to change pretty much every room,
like
which was creepier than these. These rooms were not very creepy.
Well, were they visually creepy?
I mean, some of them.
It was in words, right? You read it.
I did read it. So Sci-Fi does this thing now. I don't know how much you guys check out Sci-Fi. They do this thing now where they post synopses of every show after it airs. And sometimes I get things out of the synopsis that I didn't even catch in the real show. That might be the case here. So I'm going to go ahead and read through some of the synopsis. We'll talk about the different plot beats. You'll tell me what you've gathered and what you thought of the show as we go on. So this starts with... So that house at the end of the block, that's the NoEnd House. As a woman runs toward it, a man in a suit pursues her. She has the words, "This isn't real," carved into her arm. She wants to get into the house as fast as she can, but he catches her, knocks her out, and maybe cuts the words off her arm? So many questions. But that's all we get for now, because we're about to meet our lead, Margot. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, I think he was going to burn them.
Yeah, he for sure had a lighter.
Was he the same guy with the backpack from inside the house?
No. I don't think
Different
so.
color.
They both had just because they both have beards doesn't
They had
mean
different color hair though, so unless they dyed it, and it seems like that's kind of a big budget move.
What is a parallel universe?
Right. So I'm assuming she's trying to get back into the house so she can get out of the house.
Actually out of the house.
Into her home universe.
So this is a sequel to Sliders.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the horror version.
No, it's the sequel to Channel Zero Season 1.
Some flashbacks clue us in that Margot and her father were very close and spent a lot of time in the pool growing up. What happened to him is
Just
still
in
a bit of a
time.
mystery, but Margot has definitely become something of a recluse this summer.
It's not a mystery. He was dumb, so he had allergies.
No, we haven't
or
got
something.
there. We haven't got to that yet.
Oh.
When Mom headed out of town, Margot's down to do just what she's been doing a lot of lately, just hanging around without any kind of friends. That's when her friend Jules comes back from college.
Okay, we have
that's
her.
a
We have her name
contradiction.
now.
Here's
we
the
didn't have
interesting
her
part.
name before.
Yeah, Jules finally convinces Margot to get out of the house and go to a party. They meet up with some dudes at a bar. One of them, their old friend JD. So you guys got it wrong. Margot is about to
JT.
leave when she meets a handsome boy named Seth, so she sticks around. That's when everyone reveals they've all been getting weird, creepy messages on their phone. JD explains this happens every now and then, usually before the appearance of the NoEnd House, an art installation that's a high-end, creepy, haunted house. Or bougie, as the characters might say in the show. 6 rooms, all scarier
Is that
than
in
one
the actual
before it.
synopsis, or did you add that
I'm
back in?
editorializing only a little bit, because they write these synopses very corny.
I really thought it was 8 rooms.
Who wrote this synopsis?
6 rooms?
They're on the Sci-Fi website with the show.
Oh.
Apparently the next step is that people will start seeing ads with the address. So I guess we missed that part in the commentary.
Yeah.
Somewhere the address was there. That's how they knew to travel all the way across town in that long car scene.
Oh no, that's what she saw on the television.
Yep. Okay. I missed that.
The
So-
first television, not the
So I wonder if it's
television
like
inside.
just like a long con.
What do you mean?
They don't realize it, but they signed all of their assets to them, and so after they're gone for like 7 years, they can claim they're dead and take all their crap.
What if this whole show is a long con and we're going to sign over our assets if we watch it?
Well, I haven't signed anything.
That you
Yet.
Do you remember signing it? You guys all
I-
signed a
I
waiver on
just
your
think-
way in.
I distinctly remember not signing something.
You haven't seen the exit door for this room?
Yeah, didn't Michael's address have a 4 in it? So there is an exit here.
You didn't check when you came in. It might have a 6 on the door now.
Shoot.
Mine's
That's
got
possible.
a 6.
I
Don't
live in
go,
an
that
apartment.
means don't go in my house. You can't get out.
No, that's a different movie.
So the gang all go back to Margot's house, and Margot reveals to Seth how her dad died. He had a bad reaction to some allergy medication, and she found him dead. It's clearly been traumatizing. When Margot goes inside, she sees a strange ad on the television that gives away the address, as you said, so the gang decides to get in the car and drive over to see it.
Here's the thing: like, if you die, if you have an allergic reaction, it's visible. He looked fine.
And how can you have an allergic reaction to allergy medicine?
Well, you can have an allergic reaction to allergy medicine.
That's disappointing.
It means you
It
got the
is.
wrong medicine, probably.
Right. People get prescribed the wrong stuff all the time. But usually when you die, when you have an allergic reaction, my point is when you have an allergic reaction, like you get puffed up, something happens that's visible.
Well, that's him in the house.
I suppose being dead is a visible thing, but
He did look like he was just sleeping.
did they just not have the budget for like a rash? They couldn't just put a little bit of a rash on him?
Where would he have a rash?
They
I thought it would be
spent
on
that
his
money
inside.
writing "There's no escape" or "Not real."
Right. Well, I'm just saying, if you break out, you eat something you're allergic to, you can still break out in hives,
They
right?
should have just given him something he was allergic to, so he would break out for
Right.
the show.
Right.
He's
that
a
would
method actor, right?
I don't know. No. Did you ever see the Drew Carey show? He was not a method actor.
Yeah, there's no way
Is he
anybody.
Drew Carey?
No.
Okay.
He was one of Drew Carey's buddies.
There's
Oh,
no
so
way.
it's not that girl that looks kind of like Drew Carey?
No, I think he was that chick's boyfriend
That figures.
in the Drew Carey show.
They arrive to find a pretty terrifying house. All of the people are out of the people coming out of it are actually really freaked out by it. Some are even barfing. As they wait
Well-
their turn to go in, they learn that every room is scarier, but every room has an exit as well. You get to choose as you go. They meet a bearded dude with a backpack, Dylan, who tells them that he's actually been searching for the house. He's prepared to go in. After seeing some spray-painted graffiti on the door that says "Beware the Cannibals," the team go into their first room, where they all find some white plaster casts of their own heads. It's pretty creepy, and they can't figure out how it happened so fast. Then the lights go
I like
off.
how they tell you it's pretty creepy. Like, you should be creeped out
Well, they
by
have to
this.
tell you that a lot, because clearly
Right.
it wasn't that scary. When the lights come back on, their heads are different. The statues have changed, and they're now all torn open. Curious, they ignore the door that says exit, well, all of them except one, and march through the door labeled next room.
See, I didn't even pick up that the plaster cast looked like them until they said they
Well, they
did.
had to point it out because they didn't have hair on. I think if they would have had hair on, it would have been
They should-
easier.
Why didn't they put the hair on?
Does that show how much we
a lot of money.
don't actually look at what people look like? We just look at their, like, general features?
Well, I mean...
Can you describe the... Okay, hold on. Can you describe the characters in this show? I know you don't know their names.
They're all white.
No.
Nope.
That's not true.
The one chick
One
isn't.
of them, she's brown.
Okay, so there's
Oh,
Wells.
Jules,
there's,
because
there's,
she's from Pulp Fiction.
yeah, there's Wells Fargo. And she looks like she very much wants to be the girl from Twilight. And then there's the dude who wants to look like he's the guy from Twilight. And then there's the African-American friend, who's a girl. And then there's the guy who wants to have her hairstyle very bad. And then there's
think he
kind
does
of...
have her hairstyle, or at least half
It's
of
just
it.
shorter.
And then there's a guy who...
WJD.
Has a backpack and looks almost like a drifter, but clearly too clean, so I guess a bad hipster.
Or,
With a go bag.
Is that
A
Dylan?
bug out bag.
He does look like a Dylan.
yeah, I want to say Dylan is the prepared one.
I think he's the actual hero of the show.
Yeah.
The second room looks like a giant swimming pool with a very creepy dude in it. He's wearing a wooden mask and cruises around the room, sizing everyone up. When JD asks if he's one of the cannibals, the dude shoves him pretty hard.
Does it actually say that?
It says that. After the creepy
It
guy
was like a 4 out of 10 hard.
After the creepy guy whispers in Margot's ear, "Welcome back, Martian. What does that mean?" The lights go out and come back on. One of the dudes who's been going through the house with them is now missing and only a smear of blood leading from where he stood.
Yeah, leading to the wall. Yeah, that was not scary
You don't think
I
the wood
don't
guy was
know.
scary?
at all. No.
What about when he pushed that guy
It was
really
cheesy.
hard? What about when he shoved him really hard?
It was
It was
stupid.
pretty hard.
It was
Yeah,
stupid. It's
how-
like he's outnumbered.
You know that
and if he
when
wants to start a fight, he will lose.
When this pilot aired, it got a lot of positive reviews, you know.
Really?
It did. Not from I don't know how many people that were important actually reviewed the thing, but the people that did review it, if you look online, the show has a very high Rotten Tomato score.
It was reviewed by every actor that was cast in this show.
And that was it. I do want to see a different
Maybe.
scene.
Well, does it get better? You've seen the whole thing. Does it get better?
I'm not gonna spoil anything.
I do want to see a different version of the scene where that guy comes out and they're all like, "Oh, that's terrifying," and they all just attack him.
Well, seriously, like if he had a weapon, like a machete, if it was obvious he came to defend himself, and in the case like they did attack him, then okay, well, like, wait, what's going on? But he's just by himself walking around wearing what could just be a plastic mask, right?
I mean, did you not look at it? It was very much just a plastic mask.
Right. Like he
But he looks
do
kinda
they do
like-
background checks or psychology, psychological evaluations of these people? How does he know he's not pushing a psycho who attacks him as soon as he pushes him?
So this is a sequel to that Michael Douglas movie, The Game?
I was thinking Fall It Down when you said Michael Douglas.
Oh,
Or Ant-Man. Like how do they, he could have Ant-Man in his pocket.
that would be better than what he did have,
Right.
which was bad hair.
He said
and
hello,
nothing
Martian.
else.
You guys forgot. He said hello, Martian. That was his scare tactic.
See, I don't
didn't actually
believe
hear
it.
him say that.
Yeah, I don't believe her.
I think she
He
misheard him.
actually just leaned over and said,
Right. Right. He was clearing his throat. That's what it sounded like he was doing.
And then he realized he ran out of time, and he's like, "Oh, I have to kill that guy. Hold on."
Right.
Lights
The only
go
reason
out.
why she
"I
knows
gotta go murk this fool."
Yeah, the only reason why she knows he said hello Martians because it's in the script.
She actually said Bello Marcia.
This is where the gang is offered a warning by Dylan. He's already told them that he's trying to find his way back into the house, and now he says it's not too late, that they should turn back. They, of course, ignore him and press on. Room 3 requires
course.
them all to go in separately. Margot finds herself in a dream she used to have as a kid. A long hallway with a mirror that has someone hiding behind it.
Was there any way for us to know that that was a dream she had as a
Yeah,
kid?
you missed the part where she was talking to Hot Dude at the beginning party. She told him that.
That she had a dream about a mirror.
Yep.
There was a hot dude?
Fake
Yeah, it's
Twilight.
the same guy. Fake Twilight reject.
I'm going to use Hot Dude for a lot of guys in this show, so... She sneaks around the mirror trying to find...
What about the dad?
Hold on. She sneaks around the mirror trying to find a terrifying... No, I keep reading this wrong. She sneaks around the mirror to find a terrifying giggling dude. That is the actual quote.
Why was that terrifying?
I did not find that guy terrifying.
He looked like Jack Black. She runs
Yeah.
towards the exit, but as she passes door 4, she hears Jules' voice, so she goes in after her. In room 4, Margot is forced to watch her father's death on a giant screen. It's messed up. Margot sees that she has a choice between room 5 and an exit. She persists into room 5, though is curious about how messed up this all is.
If you were to remove like all of the descriptive stuff, like spooky, curious, I would buy the concept. You go into a house. It's like a if you ever saw that movie, The Cube, where you move from room to room. Each room is more terrifying than the other one, which is true. But each room tries to kill you, and you have to get out. Right. Because like it has a high concept that sounds interesting, but then they add all this other stuff, in the synopsis that just makes it sound
As corny
dumb.
as it is.
Well,
Yeah.
these synopses are some of my favorite part of the show because they are written so poorly. They seem like they're written to teenage females, I'll say.
Are they written by the writers of the show?
I don't know.
Well, were they written by committee? Were they crowdsourced?
No.
Like you should just supply a few words and
I don't think so.
we'll
I think
use it in the synopsis.
They post when the episode airs because there were like when I watched this episode the first time, I did not know what it said on that girl's arm, and I did not know until I read the synopsis. They post day of the air.
Oh.
So I don't think fans necessarily write the synopsis. Somebody in the cast does.
Somebody
Real quick,
Somebody who
paid
makes like 20,000 a year.
Yeah, they get paid the big bucks to
Real
do
quick,
that.
in room 5, Margot finds a creepy version of her living room with the creepy
Yeah.
version of her father sitting in the position where he died. Creepy version, that mayonnaise guy.
I feel like they overuse the word creepy there.
They do. They normally when someone writes something to be published online, they do a quick control F of their adjectives and adverbs to see if they're using the same ones over and over, and somebody forgot to do that here.
They need to use the thesaurus.
Yes. Videos of her childhood play behind her on a scary loop, and the only way to turn it off is to take the remote from the...
See, I like
hold on.
why don't they just say loop and then let the viewer decide if it's scary?
They use
Well, how are
creepy
you supposed
again?
to know if it's scary or not,
Unless
Matt?
they
If
tell
they
you.
don't tell you it's scary,
They
you're not
use-
going to be scared.
They
We
use the
just
word
talked
creepy
about
again.
this.
Be
You gotta-
scared.
Yeah, we just talked about
Be
this.
scared.
It's better to be told than not shown in visual medium.
That's true. I'm pretty sure that's rule number 1, right?
Yeah,
Tell,
you gotta-
don't show.
She has to take the
All the other
remote
rules are scarier
from
than
this
that rule.
creepy vermilius verse. I'm not gonna go say this word.
Verisimilitude.
Of her dad. As she does, he gets up and tries to hug her. On her way out of the room, she hears him say, "You have to go through to go home."
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, we didn't hear it, and we were listening to that part. We weren't talking over it. I just couldn't hear it because the audio in the show is mixed so
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
but trashly.
You have to go through what?
The door, probably. I don't know.
You got to go in to get out.
Maybe she
It's,
misunderstood.
it was like one of those deep philosophical.
Well, we cannot trust her
Musings.
hearing ability because she claims that guy said "Go home, Martian" or something.
That's really the twist of the whole thing. Is she has a hearing
She's
impediment?
she's been abducted.
Yeah, her friends are just like, we didn't know how to tell you
Well,
that you're very deaf. so
remember,
we had a very elaborate plan.
We literally didn't know how to
Early
tell you.
early on, there was those little pins, right? And then on the pin was a UFO. One of those was a picture of a UFO with like the strings, like
I can't tell if they're making this up.
like what detectives do.
I did not see that.
Yeah. So there was like the strings, and then like at the beginning of what's that show on Netflix? The Series of Unfortunate Events. Right. Have you seen the opening of that? And it's like Count Olaf is at the center of everything.
I
Well,
love that
all these shows, like all of these pictures, went to this one pin that was on a UFO. So I wonder if there's actually aliens.
I feel
So-
like I didn't
so-
even watch the same show as
so
you
the-
right now.
so
I don't remember.
technically-
I think he's making this up. I don't remember this either.
No, that was there. So technically, they wouldn't be cannibals, right? If they're
Because, yeah, if
aliens,
they're aliens, they would
they're
not
not.
be
They're not
cannibals.
cannibals.
Well, if they eat other aliens,
And then
they
he
might
tells
be.
her what did he say to her?
You have to go through to go home.
No. What did the
tree boy.
tree mask?
Hello, Martian.
Martian. I
That's
believe.
right. Hello, Martian. She's actually an alien.
I don't mean to spoil this for you, but you did miss the part where Martian was her dad's nickname for her.
No, I don't like that.
Oh,
That's why he says that at the end.
Right, but is it supposed to be a scary nickname
That's
or a
the
creepy
creepiest
nickname?
I think it's
nickname I've
because her
ever
name
heard.
is Margot and he forgot his child's name and just went with
He
it.
just went with
He
Martian.
was getting real high on his allergy medication.
There was a UFO there. You can start it over.
As Margot gets
Don't blame
outside the house, she finds a distraught Jules. Thinking JD and Seth have left them there, they decide to leave, but their car won't work. They walk home, shaken. Jules agrees to stay over a bit, but she notices the house is just a number 6. Was it always? That's when things get even weirder. As Margot goes in the house, she discovers her dad making breakfast. What is this?
What was it? A creepy Was he
kind of
creepily
breakfast?
making breakfast?
He wasn't
or was he
creepily making
making
breakfast.
a creepy breakfast?
He
was
was
it a breakfast pasta?
whistling creepily making creepy pasta.
See, this is the thing. I didn't know if I was supposed to be scared then. Nobody told me.
'Cause I really felt like the end of Back to the Future, where she's come to a better place. Everything's fine now.
Right. You mean like the second one? She wakes up and that would be the third one.
No, I meant the first one, where his parents are now successful and not dead.
Not dead.
If you were her, would you be creeped out when she comes downstairs and her dad's alive?
Well, yeah.
I'd be creeped out if I came downstairs and saw my dad.
In his underwear?
Just at all.
Yeah. If my dad was dead and then I came home and he was grating cheese, I'd be like, Dad, what are you doing? You don't grate cheese that way.
Like my
No,
dad knows I don't like
There's
cheese.
a better
That's
way to
creepy. That
That's
he would-
true.
Well, yeah,
That's
for
true.
you, yeah.
If I came home and my dad is alive and I went down here and he was here, I would also be creeped out.
Right. I would be creeped out.
Any place I see my dad, I'm a little creeped out.
I'm curious, once again, I want to do a name check. Can you guys name the main character of this show?
Margot Robbie.
Margot's one of them.
Well, that's
Oh,
part of the
there's more than one.
that goes to actually how poorly the show was
Oh,
developed.
no. I'm not blaming you guys for not paying attention. The
No,
show
no.
does an extremely poor job of saying
There's-
anyone's name.
No, forget.
Jules.
No, I'm not talking
Dylan.
about the names. I'm still stuck on the last scene.
Dylan.
Right? That is supposed to be scary or creepy, or like you'd be like, "What the heck? What's he? How creepy is that?" But like the directing, the camera angles, the sounds, like nothing was. They did not concentrate any of that
You didn't like that
to
one take?
make you creep that out.
That was all one take. They just spun the camera around and he was grating cheese. You didn't think that was creepy?
No,
That he was whistling
no,
and grating cheese poorly?
no.
Yeah, I wasn't set up to think of the whistling as creepy.
Right.
What about...
Exactly. There was no
They dropped the-
there
they
was
dropped
no
the soundtrack out,
foreshadowing.
though. When they drop the soundtrack, you know something creepy's going down.
No, I was thankful.
The
That they-
soundtrack is really the
Yeah,
worst part.
right.
The mixing is extremely weird in this show. It's hard to hear dialogue when there's music playing, and it's not our audio setup. It's that way. That's the way the show is made. You can't hear people talking when they're playing music, and sometimes that's when dialogue is delivered that's supposed to be listened to.
I have a bone to pick with this synopsis. It says 4 friends, and one of them was clearly just picked up at a bar.
That's how millennials meet.
He's
people.
not one of the friends.
That's how millennials have friends.
Yeah.
Unless
Seth?
Dylan is one of the friends.
Seth,
Seth, that's the guy's name.
Which guy?
JD,
Seth is hot dude. JD is long hair hot dude.
Is it JD or JT?
It's JD for real. But we were calling him
Jay-Z,
Jay-Z the whole time.
Jules,
Jules is the black chick.
Margot,
Margot's the other white chick. Or the only white chick, I
and
guess.
then Dylan was
Dylan's
the hipster.
Dylan's... well, you call him hipster, but I like to call him mercenary.
Backpack guy.
Was there other main characters?
They
No.
probably had Yoda.
Does the dad have a name?
The
backpack.
dad may not have a name yet, actually.
I'll just IMDb
The dad may not
this.
have a name yet. The mom has a name. Don't look it up. Any spoilers.
There are spoilers on IMDb?
Yeah, dude.
So obviously his name is critical to you being creeped out at some point in this show.
So I...
And if you're not actually creeped out, you can read the synopsis and know you should have been creeped
You
out.
should have been
Quick,
freaking
what is the
creeped out.
creepiest name you can think of for a guy? I
Barnabas,
Sylvester.
was thinking John.
Jacob, Jingleheimer Schmidt.
His
No,
name is my name, too.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
That's why they shout it whenever I go out. I would like you guys to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. That's generally what we do on this website.
What would be rated as a 10? I mean, because we got to put this in the right kind of category, right? We wouldn't compare this to 2001 and Space Odyssey.
So I haven't seen very many movies.
I would rate that a lot lower than most people.
I haven't seen very many movies, but let's just say the movie Insidious is a 10.
I have not seen
Okay.
Insidious.
The Ring, then? We'll say The Ring is a 10.
I have not seen the.
Michael, I've never seen any movie.
Let's
Okay,
say...
so I can use Insidious as a 10. So if Insidious is our top level, this is probably a 3 or 4, because I've seen worse.
There are no
You've
fours.
seen worse? I want to hear some examples.
Cube 2,
Okay.
Electric Boogaloo.
VHS 2. See, because what I was saying is like this it looks like a low quality VHS. And there was a horror movie that came out in 2012. And it's actually 4 stories. So it's an anthology. None of them were related.
Okay.
But each one was shot in like with a 1980, 1990s, those big old handheld cams.
Yeah.
Right? On VHS type. Each one was shot on VHS. It was actually pretty good. Some of them, so there was 4 stories. A couple of them were pretty good. But then they made a sequel because it actually did pretty well. Really low budget. Made some money. So it made, a lot of profit. So they made a sequel. The sequel was terrible.
And that
So,
was
yeah.
called Betamax?
No, it was VHS too. DVD. But yeah, they're obviously like, yeah, we can just do that again.
VHS 2 is called Straight to VHS.
Yeah, the lightning did not go into the bottle. It struck the director and went into the VHS tape.
Would any of you have finished this episode if you weren't recording a podcast on it?
Yes.
I likely would not have started this
Yeah.
episode.
Would any of you watch the second episode if you'd been forced to sit through the first episode?
No, probably not.
Probably not. I already saw Sliders. I didn't like where it went.
I have a low tolerance now. You have to. I'll give a show 2 or 3 seasons if it's been highly recommended by enough people. Yeah, this one I would have. Yeah, I'd tap out after the first episode.
I usually give shows a 1 to 3 episode, like a 2 to 3 episode. Sorry, assuming that there's something I'm missing. So I would watch the next one. And if the next one is similar to this first episode, I would probably not watch the third one.
Channel Zero has an average tomato meter of 94% and an average audience score of 84%.
What?
That's...
For this season?
Seems wrong.
Sorry, if I go to Channel Zero NoEnd House, it's a 100% critic rating.
Really?
And 87% audience rating.
So, like, I can see a couple of redeeming
Why
qualities.
am I wrong? Why am I so wrong?
But
on
I
this?
I can't fathom that rating.
Which review would you like me to read some from? I've got
one that seems to make sense.
Let's see.
Is there anyone
since
from
it's 100%,
know?
how about Vox?
Okay, go with Vox.
Okay, they gave it a 4 out of 5, so I'm not sure how this ended up with 100%, but
yeah, because they are crazy over there at Vox. So I want to hear what they have to say.
All right, so here we go. For me, Sci-Fi's Channel Zero was one of TV's biggest surprises of 2016. But the show's 6-episode second chapter debuting this week is terrific from stem to stern, taking story that would seem unlikely to translate well to television and turning it into an eerie Twilight Zone-style tale of suburban conformity, post-high school depression, and the inability to escape the legacy of one's parents. I didn't get that last part, the legacy of one's parents.
After watching the whole season, you don't get that?
I wouldn't say remembering my father's death has to do with escaping their legacy.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't get that out of the first episode.
I think this is just a review of episode 1
right,
and
but
2.
I think Vox is getting way more out of the show than is actually there.
Subtitled NoEnd House, which technically the second half of season 1, Channel 0, blah, blah, blah.
Well, see, they read something that told them what they were supposed to feel and see in the...
Let's see. Channel Zero creator Nick Anastasia knows this, and he's right there, ready to anticipate your expectations and keep you from getting bored. Of course, Margot and Jules haven't escaped, and of course they and the audience will realize it. So, Skoska, that's the director, is forced to get creative in how he keeps them trapped. NoEnd House also features wonderfully unsettling performances from Forsyth D and John Carroll Lynch, the dead father. All convey the notion of reaching a place where reality just doesn't feel real anymore, even though you know it is.
Yeah, I will give you that he does know how to do creepy. He was creepy in Zodiac, where he is a suspect. He is super creepy. But, David Fincher directing, he can get creepy from anybody.
I do feel like in like a fourth wall sort of way that I did feel a sense of unreality with this show.
I always accredited that to the bad dialogue, though.
Like, I feel very much
that's what
like
Matt was
I'm
going
trapped
for.
in a house.
I like it when the teens are talking at the beginning. You guys weren't listening as much because you were riffing on other jokes, which is okay. But if you were to actually assess the teen dialogue at the beginning, it is just astoundingly... They don't sound like they're talking to each other. They sound like they're having a conversation next to each other with themselves.
Like they have a script that they're reading?
No, because I feel like somebody trying to write two characters talking to each other could do it so much better, even if they had no talent.
See, you misunderstand, Michael. They're trying to capture the zeitgeist of the youth of today.
Well, like I said, when I first saw this, I thought I was watching
I hope
Twin
they
Peaks.
haven't captured it.
Have you seen Twin Peaks, where the characters, it's all weird, but it's intentionally weird, and it comes across as weird?
Fantastic cup of coffee.
Yes, and so...
Yeah, Twin Peaks is good.
Yes.
The dialogue is really good.
Exactly. This show, I was
and
sitting
it's
there
creepy.
going... I was sitting here at the beginning when they were talking back and forth when I first saw the show, and I said, is this supposed to be bad? Like, are the things that they're saying foreshadowing something that's about to happen? Or is it just bad dialogue? And that's for you guys to decide. Because this show has a very good critic rating and user rating.
The subtitle here that I could just barely read that says, "Your memories will eat you alive." That's creepier than this episode was.
It's a personal opinion.
I'm not saying it's creepy. It's creepier.
So let's see. Rundown. You said 3 out of 10 because you've seen worse.
Yeah, 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 mostly because I think conceptually there's something there. So I think in the hands of a better showrunner, for lack of a better term, you could actually do something with that.
Run rate it.
I'll give it a 4.
Okay, Matt.
I've seen worse TV.
I would give it a 5, but only because a 5 is about the worst rating I could give anything. I don't care about it.
Well, you could give it a 1. It
No,
goes from
'cause
1 to 10.
With a 1, it would at least be noteworthy. Like, it'd be so bad that I have something to say about it. This
So-
just leaves...
I have.
Star Wars Holiday Special would be a 1.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is nowhere near that.
I just
No.
hold on. I want you guys. I don't want to depress you in the first episode here. I want you guys to hold on to your butts because we're gonna go places. I think
With the second episode?
with the series. I may not.
Okay.
I don't remember the specific episodes when things happen.
Okay.
But if
Are
you're
we
talking about something being so bad that it might be funny to talk about, anyway, that's
Well,
gonna be a wrap.
after each episode, you are allowed to exit. But if you stay for all of them, you can never leave.
Each episode
Dude,
is a door. You guys
There
are
are
getting
6
really meta.
there are 6 episodes.
See, the whole
last one
thing is
never
very
ends.
meta.
This is meta.
Last
Yeah.
one never ends.
So if we make
Yeah.
the
This
choice,
is the show then.
yeah, if we make the choice to stay for episode 6, Michael's like, nope. He locks the doors, and we have to produce content for the website for the rest of our lives.
Hey, thank you for listening to Wackmatters coverage of Channel Zero NoEnd House. If you want to check out the commentary track, go to wackmatters.com and we'll have it posted there. We also have the RSS feed, so you can subscribe to our podcast and listen to every episode that we put out. We also do a show called Life's What You Rate It, where Mark and I make jokes about how awesome everything in the world is. There's also another show called Tune In, where Mark and his friend Karsten talk about cartoons and how they're good for everybody, even adults. If you want to support this website, there's a donate button at wackmatters.com. But if you'd like to actually get something back out of it, you could go to wackmatters.storeenvy.com and buy an awesome t-shirt. We like them. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you're looking forward to next week when we talk about episode 2. Hope to see